WGN.
It's Phil Leff and Wendy Snyder on WGN along with Matt Pace from the Red Eye, who comes by every week at this time to talk films with us. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Bill and Wendy.
Matt, a week ago when you were here, I told you a little behind the scenes of what went on. You walked past the studio one day and neglected to wave at us. I wasn't bothered by it, but it shook up Wendy like I'd never seen her before. So to compensate or overcompensate, what did you do today when you walked past the studio?
Not just today, Bill. Every single time I've walked past the studio since last Friday, I have waved.
Big waves, huge waves at us. I've seen them.
Computer screen.
Well, I was asked to wave.
Yes.
I waved.
You held up your
Completed my end of the bargain.
Right.
Although I fear, as I said last week, it starts with a wave, and then
Where does it end?
Next, Wendy says now I need to stand there and wait for her to look.
Well, okay, maybe just knock on the window.
Could you do that?
I told you, I think I should just do a choreographed dance.
All right,
Let's
I'll
skip
see
to
you.
step 7.
Right.
You will notice me then.
Take a couple-week course over at Gus Giordano's, go to the dance studio, learn something inventive, and then surprise us with it.
I thought you were talking about the different Giordano's.
I know.
Pizza place?
Yeah, make a pizza outside the
Gus
studio.
Giordano has a dance studio, like a dance studio.
Related to the, do you learn how to do the pizza?
I don't think there's no pizza dance. There's no pizza dance.
Really?
Wendy, Bill doesn't know about the pizza dance.
Say it's Friday, we can order a pizza.
Oh, that dance. All right, that does
It
count.
takes training to learn that, okay?
So we have different views out of the Allstate Showcase studio. So you see, Matt, you have to come to the side window for me.
Is that too much to ask?
And so it goes.
Yeah, I told you.
And drop trap. That's it.
Wow. All right, let's talk about some of the movies that have opened today. First of all, Wendy and I were fortunate enough to talk to Brian Henson earlier. That's the son of Jim Henson, the guys behind the Muppets. And I know the Muppets have a new movie that opened today, Muppets Most Wanted.
Please tell me it's good.
It is good. I thought it was very funny.
Good.
Very funny. I mean, if people are not Muppets fans, for
Who isn't?
one thing, shame on you.
Right.
Come on. But if you are, I think you will definitely enjoy this one.
You know, I was just going to say, here's what they pull off so beautifully with the Muppets, and they've done this since day one, and they still do this to this day. And you got two things going on at the same time. You have entertainment for kids, and that's how it should be, because you're watching puppets, but it also works for adults, doesn't it?
It does, certainly, but not in a way that they're trying too hard and doing things that are just over kids' heads for the sake of it. Yeah, I thought this was a lot of fun. It actually reminded me a lot of The Great Muppet Caper, a movie I absolutely love. So that's a high bar to set there. This one doesn't, it doesn't reach that level, but essentially, if there's a jewel heist and a lot of shots in prison, I'm going to start thinking about The Great Muppet Caper. This time the Muppets are on a world tour abroad, and Ricky Gervais plays their manager. His last name is Bad Guy, but the Muppets are so trusting they don't actually think that he is the bad guy.
Innocent.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the world's most dangerous frog takes Kermit's place, sends Kermit over to a Siberian prison, and meanwhile, this frog, Constantine, tries to pretend to be Kermit with all the other Muppets, but he doesn't actually know what he's doing, so he speaks in an Eastern European accent. He doesn't know the Muppet's name, so he calls Gonzo Zongo. He calls Scooter Small Man with Glasses.
Oh, good. Very literal.
Yeah. I laughed a lot.
Don't name names, but one of the benchmarks of any Muppet production is always incredible cameos from big-time stars. I would imagine that's going to go on in this one, too.
There definitely are some of those here. The big names I can talk about are Gervais, Tina Fey, and Ty Burrell. Those are the ones with the biggest parts here. I was actually glad there weren't it didn't seem to be quite as many big cameos this time around than in 2011 with the Jason Segel starring and co-written Muppets movie. That, which I liked a little bit more than Muppets Most Wanted, that seemed to just have this endless onslaught of celebrity cameos. I know that's part of the tradition of the Muppets, but I find it a little distracting when it just never stops.
I have a question, and I don't know if it's a guy-girl thing, but you mentioned The Great Muppet Caper, or is that the name?
Yeah,
I saw it, I loved it, I can't remember anything. I watched Breaking Bad, I had to rewatch the end. Why? I mean, guys can always quote lines from movies, my sons can do it, my husband. I watch a movie, I know that I've liked it, and then I move along. Is it a guy-girl thing?
I don't know. It's an interesting question, but I really enjoy that you put The Great Muppet Caper and Breaking Bad in the same category.
Why don't they combine those? Wouldn't that be a great outing? I would love to see that.
That would be an incredible mashup. Very strange. Not appropriate for kids,
Heisenberg.
probably. paper again and then watch it again because it is.
You know, I saw, for some reason, Muppet Treasure Island was on cable less than a year ago, and my plan was not to watch it, but the first scene was pretty funny, and the second scene was pretty funny, and the third scene. Yeah, and I remembered kind of liking it when it first came out. I think my kids were little and we took them to see it, but they do a nice job with those movies. They really do.
I don't think I might have missed that one. I thought the 90s were not super nice to the Muppets. Muppets from Space was okay. Muppet Christmas Carol. I mean, there were some themed Muppet movies that didn't really catch on the way that the early stuff did.
Yeah. And the story that I've heard about Jason Segel's involvement is a fan since he was a kid. The property was just kind of laying there and nobody was doing anything with it, and he suggested to Disney, give me a crack at this. This was 2 years ago, and that wasn't a bad movie. That was fun to watch.
Yeah, I like the 2011 Muppets a lot, and it's too bad that Segel didn't want to be involved in this one, but it's still co-written by the guy who co-wrote the other Muppets with Segel, and also directed and now co-written by James Bobbin as well. So it's most.
It continues to likely continue to recast the electric pit.
Electric company.
There are